Once upon a time, there was a large, lush green forest where many animals lived. The forest was home to all kinds of wildlife. There was enough food and shelter for all the animals to live in harmony. There were so many families of animals, including rabbits, birds, squirrels, raccoons, and so many more, including a large group of foxes. One day, a fox was walking through the forest. All of a sudden, he heard a loud snap and knew instantly his tail had been caught in a trap. The fox was very upset as he tried to get his tail out of the trap. Finally, he pulled himself away from the trap, but it cut off his tail. The fox was very sad, and he had a very sore tail. The fox cried and thought he would be the laughingstock of all of the foxes. He had lost his beautiful fluffy tail, and whatever should he do now? He walked deeper into the forest until he had an idea. He decided to have a meeting with all his animal friends to discuss his idea. When everyone had gathered together, the fox started to speak. "Thank you for coming to hear me," said the fox. "The reason I have gathered you here today is to talk about why we have a tail. You see, we have eyes, ears, a nose, teeth, legs, all for some reason. But why a tail? A tail is such a useless thing. It seems to get in the way. People trip over it. It gets in the way when we sit down. So after much consideration, I have cut off my own tail, and I would like you all to do the same. I feel great now that I no longer have that useless tail." The lead fox and all the other animals were amazed at what the fox was saying. They all thought it would be quite painful and had never really thought of themselves without tails.
Wow.
All of a sudden, a younger fox asked, "Are you saying this because you no longer have a beautiful furry tail? Are you feeling embarrassed and just thinking about yourself? Maybe you are worried we might leave you out of our group of friends." The group of animals agreed that the fox without a tail was being selfish, and that it was very mean that he should ask them to cut off their tails too. He just wants us all to cut off our tails so he won't be embarrassed or left out. All the animals were quite upset with the fox without a tail, and they left him to think about what he had asked them to do. The lead fox reminded the other animals about how special their tails were and how they should always be proud of their tails. No one should cut off their tails. They all agreed. The fox without a tail was left to wander the forest alone, as his friends realized he was not a true friend. He had asked them to change, to make sure he would fit in with them. He should have accepted his difference, and his friends would have welcomed him, instead of being upset with the fox without a tail. The fox without a tail wandered for a long time and thought about his decision. He returned to his forest, and his friends forgave him. they accepted him just as he was. The fox without a tail was very happy to be back with his friends. The end. Once upon a time in the city of Paris, a young man lived in the bell tower of the Notre Dame Cathedral. He was strong enough to ring the church bells. He was also very gentle, gentle enough to hold small birds in his hands. His only friends were the gargoyles. They did not mind that he had a hunchback and a face so ugly that his evil, cruel master named him Quasimodo, which means half-formed. Quasimodo knew nothing of the world below him. He only knew what his master told him. His master even taught Quasimodo to think of himself as a monster. Quasimodo wanted to join the crowds below him on the streets of Paris so bad, but his master would never let him leave. Quasimodo spent his days carving small wooden figures, wishing he could see the whole world below. Once a year, Paris celebrated the Festival of Fools. The gargoyles convinced Quasimodo to climb down the tower and attend the festival. Everyone wore masks at the festival, so no one would pay attention to Quasimodo's looks. Quasimodo went to the festival and saw the most beautiful gypsy dancer, Esmeralda. The master's newest soldier, Captain Phoebus, saw Esmeralda and also thought she was the most beautiful. All of a sudden, the crowd grabbed Quasimodo and made him king of fools, until they found out his face was not a mask. He was a monster. They tied him down with ropes so he could not escape. Quasimodo begged his master for help, but he refused. All of a sudden, the beautiful gypsy Esmeralda cut Quasimodo free and yelled at his master. "You mistreat Quasimodo like you mistreat my people," Esmeralda said. "You will pay for this," yelled the master, and he ordered his new Captain Phoebus to arrest her. Esmeralda snuck away into the cathedral with her goat. Captain Phoebus found her there and did not want to arrest her. He told her she could claim sanctuary as long as she stayed inside the church. "If she sets one foot outside this church, she will be my prisoner," said the cruel master. Quasimodo and Esmeralda became great friends. Quasimodo was confused because the master had told him how bad gypsies were, but Esmeralda was kind and good. And she did not think Quasimodo was a monster at all. "I think the master is wrong about both of us," said Esmeralda. Quasimodo helped her plan her escape. Quasimodo carried Esmeralda and her goat down the church walls to the street one night. She gave Quasimodo a special amulet and said, "Use this if you ever need help. It will show you how to find the Court of Miracles, the secret gypsy hideout." She promised she would visit Quasimodo again and kissed him on the cheek. When Esmeralda returned, she brought Captain Phoebus, who had been badly wounded. "The master attacked us, and Captain Phoebus tried to help. Please help him get well." Quasimodo agreed and hid the captain in the bell tower. The master still wanted to find the gypsies and thought Quasimodo might know where to find them all in their secret hideaway. The master tricked Quasimodo and told him he knew where the secret hideaway was, and he would attack the gypsies at dawn with 1,000 of his soldiers. This was just a trick by the cruel master. Quasimodo and Captain Phoebus decided they must use the special amulet to find Esmeralda and warn her. They secretly made their way to the Court of Miracles, but they had no idea the master and his soldiers were secretly following them. Quasimodo and Captain Phoebus led them to the secret gypsy hiding place. "Take them all away," the cruel master yelled to his soldiers. "No, please," begged Quasimodo. But the master had a heart of stone. The next day, the master had chained up Quasimodo in the bell tower and was going to punish Esmeralda in the courtyard below. Quasimodo broke his chains and rescued Esmeralda and brought her to safety in the bell tower. The master tried to break into the tower with his soldiers, but the gargoyles beat the master and his men. At last, the master's evil reign was over. The people of Paris cheered. Hip hip hooray for Quasimodo! Finally, Quasimodo understood he was not a monster at all. But to the people of Paris, he was a great hero.